Hey guys, Sean Bougie here. It's Thursday. Real quick video on a question I get all the time. And you can check us out, by the way, at surplusfundsriches.net. I get this all the time. Sean, how are you different than everybody else selling programs? Or they'll go, oh, do you know? And they'll throw a name out. Or what's different from their program? First of all, big disclaimer, I've never purchased anybody else's programs. Two of the top three guys that compete against me, actually three of the top four, I'm sorry, bought mine. And then changed things up a little bit. Some of them bought multiple programs. Three of the four that you know about, I know for sure, bought my program. I didn't buy anybody else's program. Okay. We were flipping property in the early 2000s. The way we would do it at the time is we would buy a deed from an owner that was going into foreclosure and then go to the auction. We were in North Carolina. Go to the auction, and North Carolina has a 10-day upset bid. So we go the first day, take down names of any bidders at that point, and say, look, we've got the deed. There's 80 in debt. You know it's going to get bid up to 150. We've got the deed. You pay us 20 grand for the deed. Pay off the 80 in debt. You own the property. You paid 100 instead of 160. We made 20 grand. Meanwhile, we didn't. We would pay the owner 5 for the deed. At the time, that's how we did it. We don't do that. We don't do it like that anymore. Well, we were doing that, and we went, and nobody bought the deed. And we had recorded it. We were going to sell them the deed so that they could be the owner and redeem it and do all that like I just talked about. Nobody bought it. It sold for a lot of money, $30,000 more, $110,000 actually in that instance, and there was $80,000 total in debt. So he went down to the clerk and said, "Where does this money go?" And the clerk said, "Goes to the last owner unless there's any other debt against it, in which case the last deed holder prior to the auction, unless there's other debt, in which case the other debt has to be satisfied first, and it's in order of recording." It's a race to the courthouse. I said, okay. There's no other debt. This is it. Give us our check. No, you have to hire an attorney. I said, okay, hired an attorney. Went ahead and opened the file up again and found out at the time, and you can't get this anymore, there's a different way to get it, but the account that they would put the overages in was called, and it was called surplus funds, by the way. That account was called the 26600 report. So I went down to the bookkeeper and said, "Can I get a copy of the 2600 report?" And she said, "Sure. How many years?" I said, "All right, 10. So that's going to be a lot of money. I don't care. Give me the report." Okay. $300 later, I got a stack. I mean, a big stack. Huge stack, 30 per page. Not all of them were overages. It was a mix of some different things, but there were thousands of files to go after just in this one county. So we started calling people, and we tried what everybody else tells you to do. An assignment. Assign the money to us. We'll record that assignment, and we'll go down and get the money. And some people don't even record those assignments. They just turn them in with a claim form. Problem is, North Carolina, like many states, you have to actually motion to get it out. Not a lot, but several states, you have to actually motion. You have to have an attorney. But we tried the assignment route, and they said, "Can't do this." I said, okay. Tried the power of attorney route, with us as being the power of attorney. No, can't do that. If you do that, we're going to send you the check. And this is what I get calls on all the time from people. Happens to them. Okay, your power of attorney? Great. We'll send the check out in the claimant's name, not yours. And since you have power of attorney, you can cash it, right? Well, nobody can cash third-party checks. I can. That's only because I have to do it for Florida because it's a separate issue. The attorney sends me the check in the claimant's name and I can cash it. But that took my gaggle of attorneys talking to the bank's gaggle of attorneys to figure that out in a couple of different forms. So anyway, we ended up with the buyout. And what we do is we use a structured buyout. And what that does is we pay the owner 10% of the amount that's being held, the gross amount being held by the court, within 2 weeks after they sign. And then we give them whatever we agreed to on the back end. And we pay the attorney, we pay the mobile notary that we sent out to them in the first place, all that, right? The ongoing expenses. And we take care of it. So we use a structured buyout. That's way different than anybody else. The attorney, what they sign is a structured buyout to us and a power of attorney to an attorney. Then that attorney makes the claim. uses their trust account to take the money they're owed out and pay the rest to us, or some of the attorneys say, no, we'll make the final payment to your claimant and then send you the rest. We're fine with that too. Clean, never any questions asked, completely legal, very easy way of doing it, and we are no longer finders because of that. We don't fall under the finder law. So we taught people how to do that. The issue that came up then was people said, this is great, but I don't have the money for the buyout. So I went to some of my investors and said, I'm going to launch this thing nationally. If I can get them to do the initial work, i.e., they're going to make sure the person on that list, first of all, they're going to make sure the list is recent and the money wasn't claimed. Then they're going to go ahead and double check that the owner on that list was the actual owner at the time of sale, because in tax sales, a lot of times they don't update that. And then they're going to double check there wasn't any debt against it. Now, we'll do a double check on judgments later because they probably can't search that. That's why I have 2 weeks from when the documents come to me and when I make the first payment, because I'm going to have the attorney check that. But I basically set all that up, and my investor said, yeah, if they're going to send that in, you're going to double check it, underwrite it, hire attorneys and all that, whatever you need. So we launched a new program where we would actually fund people that would do this. So we will actually partner with you. That's one of them. The National Surplus Funds Program is one where you research the debt and owner. You go get a list. It's not hard to do, guys. And we don't give you a list. That's silly. Some of these guys online are saying they're giving you a list. They're giving that same list to 6 different guys. How's that going to turn out for you? It's not. So we teach you how to get a list. We teach you how to fish, okay? Teach you how to get a list. You get that list. You research debt and ownership. Fill out a worksheet with that. Provide supporting documents like copy of the deed, that type of thing. We do the rest. We find the people, put the deal together, hire the mobile notary and the attorney. We pay you $500 when we get it under contract, and the rest of your 8% of gross commission when we successfully get the money out. Average deal we do is 30 grand. So average payout to an investor, or rather to a researcher, is around 2,400 bucks. Not bad, especially for the limit there on the work you have to do. The other one is the Premier 16 program. We pay 16% of the gross amount being held by the court. However, more money, you got to do more work. In that one, you have to also find the people and have a warm conversation on how you do it, on whether or not they can work with us, okay, or they're willing to work with us. And we take it from there. We give you 16% of the gross. When we get the money out, 500 of that up front when we get the documents back, and the attorney gives us the thumbs up. So we partner with you. That's a really big deal. The other thing is we made a decision when we started doing this type of thing, the network system, the membership system. We made a decision that we were not going to work against anyone, meaning the only files we're going to work are those turned in by our researchers. We had a huge organization prior to that, working multiple states where we did it ourselves. But when we did this, we felt it wasn't right to compete against our people. A couple of the guys online compete against you. I don't know if you know that, but that's probably not a good thing. The other side of that is people have to do this. People have to know what they're doing and actually do the work in order to teach you well. Most guys bought this. Most of the competition out there bought programs from somebody else. They don't really know why it works. They're using old school techniques, powers of attorney to themselves, or assignments of the money. Those work in a few states, and even in those states, there's a cap or a limit as to what you can make. What we decided to design was something that would work in every state with no issues. Now, if you're going to be a researcher, there's a couple states we're not going to take. Oregon, Washington State, and Colorado are nightmares. We just don't want to work them. Florida is a separate system because the statutes are so different. That's available in one of our bundles. So we partner with you. That's the second thing. First of all, we came up with this on our own. We didn't just repackage something. We are working it. We are, but only for people that are our members, okay? Only with them. We actually have an accepted files list where you can check prior to even researching. You can check if it's already been turned in. We don't have a saturation issue, guys, at all. People bumping into each other or anything like that. But this is nice because we're transparent. That way you know we don't have it when you turn it in. We have a system for following that. We have support built in. It's email based. It's my right-hand man. It's not somebody on a looking at a card to decide how to respond. It's email based, and it's one business day he gets back with you. He is also my business partner and does the underwriting of the files. So that's a huge deal. Also, guys, you're invited to twice a month live question and answer webinars. So that's a big deal too. What you get is an initial PDF. That PDF is an overview summary and a step-by-step. teaches you how to do it on your own or partner up with us, okay? Either the Premier 16, well, I talked about this earlier, the 16% program, or the National Surplus. They teach you how to do it on your own, or you can partner up with us. The reason that's a big deal is I think that people online, some of my competition, is saying a few things that are wrong. First of all, you do have to research debt and ownership, okay? You have to research that before you go after it, or else you could be chasing money that doesn't belong to the claimant. That's a big deal, kind of important to know that. Not hard to figure it out, and we teach you how to do that extremely well. No problem. You get that initial PDF, you get a link to a resources page with videos, independent subcontractor agreement that protects us both. We've been doing this. Actually, we were BBB accredited starting in 2002, but we've been doing this since about 2003 or 4. At that point, we were doing real estate. We still do deed flips. Comes to my next point. We also have other programs that teach you how to flip property. We call them deed flips. National deed flip, Florida deed flip, also the deed flip 30. In the regular deed flip, you're going after property, primarily pre-tax sale. Now listen carefully. Pre-tax sale. And you're going after that, researching debt and ownership, just like you do on overages. You turn it in. We call the people. Okay, we find them, call the people. This is National Deed Flip. Find them, call the people, put the deal together, buy the property, pay off the debt that's foreclosing on it, and flip it as is, where is to an investor. Boom, really, really quick. We give you 15% of our net. Our average net is about 30, 4,500 bucks. That works out great. We also have a deed flip 30 where if you also call them to make sure they're willing to speak with us, we'll give you 30% of our net. That's a lot of money. It works out to around $9,000. We have recent, if you look at our video page, you'll see recent examples where you can actually go on and check the Registered Deeds Department to see that my company, Greater Good Company, bought that, and when it flipped it, it's all on there. I even put on closing statements and contracts, everything you needed to see exactly what we did and we made money. So you can actually follow behind me and look on the Register of Deeds Department online for free, and that's in those other videos. Okay, that's another thing. We're very transparent about what we do with overages and flipping. The important thing to remember with the flips, the reason that is so important that we also do that, is there's a synergy there, guys. If you were to get one of our deed flip programs, and you don't have to, along with the overage, you turn in something as a deed flip, let's say pre-tax sale. You've already researched the debt and the ownership. You turn it into us. Let's say we don't get in touch with the people, or we do and they're not willing to sell, or we run out of time. A lot of times they'll call us back with 3 days left. Well, now it's gone into foreclosure. You'll be able to see what it's sold for. You'll know if there's an overage and approximately how much. You can turn it in as a surplus funds, an overage file to us. And now, not only does that work out great for you because you got 2 shots at the same property, but the other thing that's beautiful about that is we've been trying to get in touch with them. We've eliminated the wrong phone numbers, the wrong addresses. We may have even had a conversation with them. So now we're in a position where we're going to get in touch with them before anybody else and strike that deal before it even hits a list. That's kind of a big deal. Those of you guys that are in overages know that. Also, we spend a lot of money, okay? When we're doing the research as far as finding people, either on the deed flip or on the overage program, the National Surplus, we spend a lot of money on our skip tracing software. We do mailings not only to the individual, but their possible relatives and associates. Same thing with calls. I have a full-time staff that's just doing this nonstop, guys, on behalf of my researchers, or partners is what we call them if it's a Premier 16 or a deed flip 30. That's another big deal. We not only do we partner with you, and we, good Lord, not only do you get support, and not only do you get video training, and also twice a month live question and answer webinars that you can come to, but you're also getting our knowledge base, and we'll help you however we have to get you where you need to go. Even if you're not working with us, you're doing it on your own. We don't have an issue with that at all. There is plenty of opportunity out there. The other thing is we're telling you the truth. We tell you that you do have to actually do research and work in order to do this business. You don't just this is stupid. You don't just grab a list, call a person, make a deal, and make $1 million. That's ridiculous. The money fairy is not going to land under your pillow and drop $1 million under your pillow. You got to do some work. It doesn't take long. At first, the research itself will take about a half an hour. But once you understand what you're doing and get it down, 15 minutes is the norm. So you can do, as you can imagine, quite a few of those very, very quickly. If you guys have any questions, this is the last thing that really, besides the fact that we're $497, let me cover that first. or $497 for either of those programs. Or if you're not sure if you want to start with the National Surplus or Premier 16, you're not sure if you want to call people or not, you can get them bundled together for $597. Now, why are we so much cheaper? I've had people actually say, I don't know if I want to go with you because you're so much cheaper. Hey, man, you can throw a tip in if you want. You can throw a tip in the tip jar. I don't have a problem with that. But seriously, we're charging enough to defray the cost of starting you. We're going to provide support. We're going to send out letters and call if you're going to be a partner with us. We have set costs that we're going to incur, and that's what we're trying to cover. We're not trying to make money off the actual book sale. We're trying to cover our costs as we go to partner with you. We make most of our money on the back end, okay, working with you guys directly. So we have a vested interest in making you successful. That's kind of a big deal, okay? So you can get in touch with me. This is the other difference. You can get in touch with me on my cell phone. Please do this. Listen to me carefully. Between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or rather Eastern Daylight Time, Monday through Friday. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Monday through Friday, non-holidays. Give me a call on my cell, 704-791-9398. Also, be sure to check out. We have a lot of information, including in the Insider's Guide. Tells you exactly how we do this business. No kidding. Right on the website, surplusfundsriches.net. Okay? Click on products. It'll ask you to put your name and email in there. Throw it in there, guys. It's stopped us from getting spammed. Somebody actually hired another company in India to hit our website 1,000 times a minute. It was ridiculous. Anyway, you do that, drop you on the products page. At the bottom is an Insider's Guide, and it also goes over not only all of our programs, but it goes over, and the differences, by the way, but it also goes into how we actually run the business. So you guys have a good idea or an understanding of exactly who you're partnering with and how. Again, BBB rating, A+, zero complaints, thousands of inquiries. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me, 704-791-9398. Hope to get you on board.